right. Good afternoon. New York City Controller Brad Lander. It's Wednesday, August 27th. Even as we left, there are a set of ICE agents mustered in the hallway on the 12th floor. There's about 10 families remaining in one courtroom who have been there. The judge today in that courtroom is virtual, and yet all of these folks were required to come in person, and several of them are about to be abducted and detained. Thankfully, the number of abductions is down since the injunction, and I'm pleased to say that the temporary restraining order that Judge Kaplan issued a couple weeks ago has been extended. And so the 10th floor will continue to be a place that's under federal court order to have a smaller number of people. And thankfully, it seems that DHS is following the judge's order and keeping fewer people on the 10th floor, so that today we only saw one abduction, a woman who was abducted and detained out of the 12th floor courtroom that we were outside, and there are clearly a couple of more about to happen right now. But the numbers have been more like 3 or 4 in recent days, which thankfully is, 3 or 4 too many, but thankfully down from the numbers that we were seeing earlier. Obviously continuing to root very strongly for the lawsuit that African Communities Together and The Door have brought to enjoin these detentions, these abductions, these courthouse arrests all together, and restore the rule of law to these buildings. But, and as Dean Moses, who's upstairs, mentioned this last time, that the agents generally are very unhappy to see me in these buildings. So I will just renew my offer. If they will stop abducting and detaining people, they won't have to deal with me anymore. And with that, I'm glad to take any questions folks have. Yeah. Absolutely. Look, it's good. So that we were worried before today that the temporary restraining order was not, which only was applied till this week, was not going to be extended. So it's extended till September 9th. That is a good thing. Obviously the conditions that people were in were abominable. Now, if you get to, and even better, in my opinion, is that the numbers are down. Because, when, and whether that's because they have less capacity, or because fewer people are showing up and more people are coming virtually, we don't know. But yes, it is. It's worth remembering. On the one hand, the fact that the rule of law doesn't apply in our immigration courts is abominable, and we have to show up. And on the other hand, it really is about every single family. There was a family separation here on Monday that I think was caught on camera and in some illustrations as well. A dad with a little baby, and the whole family was just ripped apart. And every time that happens, that mom was real clear that she doesn't have any way of sustaining herself. The dad was a mechanic in the Bronx. So yes, every time that doesn't happen, every family that's not separated, every individual that's not abducted, everyone that's not kept in abominable conditions, that's worth it. So if we can get to where it's 0 courthouse arrests, again, that doesn't mean everyone will have their case. One thing, today I saw 2 people with American flags and their congratulations sign because they got citizenship. And, so that beautiful thing is happening in these buildings today and many days. Not everyone is going to have their case disposed in a positive way, is going to get asylum. They get the right to seek it. And if they're found not to have grounds, okay, then they have to go back to the country that they're coming from. But what we want is just for that rule of law to apply, for people to get their due process, not to be abducted by masked agents, even though they've just been given a court date on their hearing. Unfortunately, several times this week already, seems like about 10 cases this week so far, people were abducted without appropriate legal process, and as long as that's continuing, we'll be out here. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, look, New York City's public schools are an extraordinary place for all kinds of families, and we have New York City's sanctuary city laws. Fortunately, this week a federal court ruled that the federal government can't deny funding to sanctuary cities like New York and other cities. So we are not going to allow ICE into school buildings. And I would encourage families to send their kids to school. That's the best way for them to become New Yorkers and continue that process of learning that they deserve and that they need. Thankfully, so far, we have not seen significant activity by ICE at or around New York City public schools. I mean, that's not to say it couldn't happen, but I'm excited. It's the first day of school is coming. I was actually yesterday out in a new Queens high school, the biggest building that the SCA has ever built, 3,500 new high school seats coming online at the Queens Innovation Center. Exciting to see new schools being built and kids filling them up. Okay. Thanks very much.